Sponsor an orphan, and you'll help support a vulnerable child to have the education they've always dreamed of, so they can build a brighter future. You'll be feeding a hungry stomach and a hungry mind with knowledge that will last them a lifetime. That's the power of an education. Sponsor an orphan now with Islamic Relief.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. This is your main man, Preacher Moss, host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. Hope that you had a wonderful weekend. I had a great weekend. Shout and blessings to everybody that reached out in regarding to the Muslim Comedy Festival that's going down here in Washington, D.C. on August the 11th. 2 shows, 6:30 and 9:30. We will be actively taping a comedy special. That being said, we do have some news, and I just feel like it's part of my fiduciary responsibility of being a part of the Muslim community to bring this up. It was not as much of an issue last week going into Thursday, but it has evidenced itself that we have a crisis in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We are potentially looking at a serial killer that is targeting Muslims. Now, before we jump the gun, it's very important to say that we don't know for sure. What we do have is 3 Muslims have been killed inside of 2 weeks, and 1 was killed back in November. The police believe that there's some relationship between all the killings. This is something that is also troubling as we are recognizing and doing remembrance for sure, and understanding the importance and the tragedy of Karbala in the Muslim community. So these things kind of have to balance out. Shout out to my Shia family. So I just wanted to make sure that I bring this up. And normally we would just go straight into the show, but I feel like, we have to stay educated if we're going to protect ourselves. And what I mean by that is, information is power. They do have us. They don't have a suspect. They don't have a person of interest. They have a vehicle of interest, a silver Volkswagen Passat or Rabbit or whatever it is. It's a Volkswagen. I know there are a bunch of silver Volkswagens going all over the United States. However, this one potentially is targeting Muslims. Now, before we jump the gun about Islamophobia and things like that, listen, we don't know what is in people's hearts. We don't know people's intent in their hearts. So what I would like to do is how I normally just give a rundown of what the show is going to be about. And we will talk about the comedy festival, but some things have to have precedent. And I am one as a person who studied journalism, got a degree in journalism. When you have news that affects the community, you have to talk about it. It may be in some regards, okay, we won't be able to do the whole show regarding the comedy festival, but we have enough time. This is about parlaying our intellectual capacity to be able to protect ourselves. This person or persons are out there and they're doing all kinds of things. I think that the thing is to believe that these guys or these people stayed in New Mexico. They could be going to Arizona. They could be going to Oklahoma. They could be going to Texas. We don't know. So at this point in time, it's really, really important to focus on due diligence. I'm going to ask Muslims, please, when you go to the mosque, please make sure people get to their cars safely. Be aware. Don't just send people out there. Have somebody scope the parking lot and make sure that there are not vehicles out there that you are not familiar with. Please do not let sisters walk to their cars by themselves. At this point, it's been Muslim men, okay? But it can easily be Muslim women. We know how that goes. So I want to make sure that we have a concerted effort, and we need to have a physical presence of Muslim security. When we're praying, we need Muslim security, a physical presence. And I don't mean at the masjid door. I mean, we need to set up a perimeter that is several hundred feet away from the masjid so that we can protect ourselves in case there is an aggressive attack. We are able to stagger the attack. And inshallah, if it is that, we can minimize the damage. I know this is not what you want to hear, but these are the facts. Anybody will agree with me. This thing can happen. We had a sniper here in DC. Sniper turned out to be black and Muslim. Okay, that happens. But we've had other attacks against the Muslim community, other attacks against African Americans, Latinos, and people of color. We've had non people of color attack non people of color. So you never know what the evil intent is in people's hearts, and the fact that people may be working with a mental deficiency, that somehow their actions are absolutely valid, and this expression of violence is condoned. You know, people, don't fool yourself. We just got out of hearings for what? A coup. People who we thought were marginally intelligent, marginally rational, wound up killing people given the right situation. So let me do that. So I hope you guys don't mind. We're going to go ahead and start the show. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about this because it is important. So I just say forgive me for that. But I feel like, you know, if we're really the show we're trying to say we are, if we're really the community that we're trying to say we are, and this is not being circulated enough, we need to start talking about it. CARE came out with some statements about this. This is serious. This is very serious because, you know, we live in the United States. This is a very copycat culture. So this thing, for some people, can get popular. All right. So we'll be right back. Don't you move. Shout out show. All right, we're back. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. So right off the top, I want to go ahead and get into our comment section. I want to get into our shout out show family. Sister Reed says, hello, family. Sister Reed, hope you're doing well. She's asking for prayers for her sister who was diagnosed with COVID. Absolutely. Prayers are in the pipeline, Sister Reed, and we hope that she has a full and speedy recovery. This is nothing to play with, people. I keep telling everybody. There's a reason why I play don't get the COVID all the time, because the COVID is still here and people are still getting it. So we hope that your sister has a speedy recovery and the family around her doesn't turn up with positive results as well. These things happen. People are getting COVID, just not talking about it as much as before. It's not as newsworthy. And the time it'll get newsworthy is when people start, you know, dying and hospitals fill up. So she just said she just tested for that. Brother Eric, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, beloved. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate you. Hope that you had a lovely weekend. Altaf Rashid, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, beloved. Mr. 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down, our Canadian envoy to the show. We have promoted him from a Canadian ambassador. He's not a Canadian envoy. Pretty soon you're going to be a prime minister here on the show, brother. But don't tell anybody, all right? Keep that between us and the show, all right? And wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, little brother. We haven't spoken in a minute. I know I got to call you. Got some things I'll let you know, but I appreciate you. Better known as Johnny L. Thomas. To me, he's always going to be JT, my little brother from another mother. We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. So let's get to this, because, and I will talk about this at length, but today is not the day, because honestly, because I didn't really prep all my notes the way I want to, and I'm kind of waiting for some more information to come through. But, you know, this is what we have so far in regards to this situation. I'm going to ask everybody just for a little bit of patience. Watch, because literally this could be you in Texas, this could be you in Wisconsin, you in California, you in New York. Pay attention is what I'm going to say. All right.
The urgent search for a killer or killers. An entire community on edge in New Mexico. 4 men, all Muslim, shot and killed since November, 3 of them in the past 2 weeks. A mosque spokesman tells CNN one of the men attended a funeral for 2 of the other victims on Friday and then became a victim himself just hours later. CNN's Ad Lavendera is in Albuquerque this morning with the latest. This just has to be terrifying for that community.
There's no question, John, these murders have sent a chilling reaction throughout the Muslim community here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it's a small community. We're told it's about 3,000 to 4,000 Muslims that live here in the Albuquerque area. But there's a great deal of concern emerging now because there's just so little information as to exactly what is going on. We can walk you through the timeline of events here. The first murder happened back in November of last year, so about 10 months ago. That is when the first person was killed. Then now, in the last 2 weeks, we have seen a string of 3 other murders, one on July 26th, another one on August 1st, and then, as you mentioned, the latest victim was a man who had attended the funeral services of the 2 previous victims, and it was Friday afternoon. He was in the mosque behind me talking to people, asking questions about what was going on, concerned about what was going on, and then a few hours later, he was killed as well. And what one thing that Albuquerque police here believe is that they are all connected at this point. They say they have reason to believe that that is the case. The one thing tying all of the men together is that they are Muslim. There doesn't appear to have been any robbery or any other aspects of the crime that went down that would suggest that it was something other than the men being Muslim. And because of that, the president of the mosque here was telling us last night that there is a great deal of fear running through the community here in Albuquerque.
And what are Muslim leaders involved?
People are terrified.
Incredibly terrified, panicked. Some people want to move from the state till this thing is over. Some people have moved from the state. Businesses are closing. They're closing businesses early. Students won't leave their homes. People are not. It's affecting people from coming over to the mosque to conduct their services and their prayers. So in every aspect of daily life that we're used to or accustomed to following, it's impacted it in every way possible. But I get in the car and I'm watching every which way possible. I'm watching my side mirror. I'm looking in the back. I'm looking out for any sign that of anything out of the ordinary.
It's hard to live like that.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we don't have an alternative.
All right. Give a shout out to my main man Bilal Salahuddin and his queen, Sister Sonia. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope everything is going well for you down in Houston. Shout out to everybody in the DC area who managed to survive the deluge that came down momentarily. It wasn't even supposed to be that 40% chance of rain. I mean, it dumped buckets here in the area. So on this issue of potentially having a serial killer, I think that they're jumping the gun a little bit. There's something to this, that the person who I don't know who this person is. I'm sure the FBI is working up a profile. It seemed really, really brazen if somebody was just attacking Muslims like that. Just like some random dude, just there has to be some type of a connection to this, and I'm not sure what it is, but I'm sure we will find out because they're definitely on the case in Albuquerque. They brought in federal troops, so if you're in Albuquerque, like my father, I'm asking everybody please to be safe wherever you are because we don't know where it's going to go. And let's be honest, I watch the news in Albuquerque. There are other people who are dying that are not Muslim in the city of Albuquerque, so you have some crime issues going on. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. It is unfortunate that we have people who express themselves like that. So I'm just going to make dua for it, and I pray that people are safe. Number one, I pray that people are not affected by this long term. I always say that when people commit crime, it is a lie. And when a person tells you a lie, they are already committing to the fact that they are not reasonable people. When I say reasonable people means that once you tell a lie, you can't expect for somebody to apply reason where you didn't apply reason. And that's why people have feelings when something goes down. We have feelings. We have feelings of regret. We have feelings of being betrayed. And those are the things that result when you have an emotional imbalance, which is what lies cause oftentimes. So let me jump off of that. keep your eyes open, brothers and sisters. Keep your 12 o'clock, your 6 o'clock straight, and your 12 o'clock straight. Make sure that people are watching your back. So let's get to it. We have a Muslim comedy festival among us. The scope of this Muslim comedy festival is that there is an opportunity, if you will, to reframe what comedy means for the Muslim audience. I'm going to be very honest with you. Where it started back in 2003 when I was a solo artist doing Allah Made Me Funny, where it started was something similar to this. We had 9/11. And in watching the trajectory of our community be traumatized, and the interesting thing is, it doesn't traumatize all of the community. There are certain factions of our community that are used to dealing with oppression, used to dealing with racism, used to dealing with discrimination. And so you have a plethora of information that you can deal with and responses that you can deal with that leads you not to be traumatized. It makes you angry. It makes you a lot of things, but you're not really traumatized. You may be oppressed, but you're not traumatized. This festival is an expression, if you will, of excellence. And I will put it out there clearly. It is an expression of excellence, but it's also an expression of Muslim excellence, but it's also an expression of Black Muslim excellence that comes from the Black community. This tour, as this festival as we speak right now, is happening with the will, the networking, the sheer get after it attitude of the African American community and an engaged immigrant Muslim community, which is what this was supposed to be in the first place. Not the scenario that we see now where one Muslim gets up here and then they worry about, oh, so-and-so is going to take it. We can't do net zero-sum Muslim comedy. Like if I get a laugh over here, it means it takes away from a laugh over here. It doesn't do that. And true to my word, and I've said this, I've always tried to showcase comedians. There are comedians who have shows right now. Mo Armour has a show on Netflix. You probably saw it in USA Today. But there was a time when I gave Mo Armour an opportunity to showcase and be a part of what was then Allah Made Me Funny, and to be open to this audience that he had no connection with. He had no relationship with. And that was it. Now, I can say this about Mo, all due respect. He has not done a good job with going and reaching back. He has not. I looked at parts of the show and I said, it is a very Arab show. I can tell by the picture. It's an Arab show. And the idea of him being Arab, it totally precludes what it is that helped him get to where he was or where he is now. But that's not the point. My point is, with this festival, we have a new beginning. And you're going to see, inshallah, if we're blessed, if we're fortunate, you're going to see people coming together like they did in 2004 and 2005, but younger audiences, generationally younger audiences, and we're going to have our older audiences, and we're going to be able to marry and mesh the narrative of these communities. Because one of the big things that's really a part of, I really want to say, that's really dysfunctional in our community is the relationship between older Muslims and new Muslims. Or not older Muslims and new Muslims, I mean older Muslims and young Muslims, because there is a breakdown. There is, without a doubt, a disconnect in the context of how we see not Islam, but a communal understanding of Islam. A communal understanding of what it is to be Muslim. And I say this because there are people who are not Muslim who have, in some regards, a better understanding and engagement with this whole idea of, the communal Muslim in terms of what that means. When I say communal Muslim, it's not just the show. It is the effectiveness in dealing with the communities. Are we making where we live better? Are we establishing leadership? And I just don't mean leadership amongst Muslims. I'm saying leadership in terms of a community-wide, folks. You can't wait for your child to grow up and be a young Muslim leader when you have young Latinos, young black men, young black women, regardless of their Muslim. Are you willing to engage in their humanness? Are you willing to engage in their excellence? And that, brothers and sisters, is why we're on this earth, because it's not that we alone have natural human excellence. It's that everybody does, and it's our duty to engage it. So this Muslim Comedy Festival is something I have been working on. It was delayed by COVID for a couple of years. At one point, I even had financing for it, but COVID came. So by the time, you know what I'm saying, by the time I would have done it, everything was closed anyway. But what does it mean to have a Muslim Comedy Festival? It means that we can re-engage, getting people out in spaces. This is very, very important for our community, getting people out in spaces. And I don't want people to feel like, hey, it's a Muslim comedy. It's a very accessible comedy festival if you're not Muslim. It's probably more accessible for you than it is for some of the Muslims that we deal with. So I want to make sure, listen, if you're in the DC area, and we're going to make this announcement, if you're in the DC area and you want tickets to come to the show, we do have complimentary tickets. We've decided to open it up. You do not have to pay. If you want complimentary tickets, all you do is go to permissiblelaughter@gmail.com. Permissiblelaughter@gmail.com. We need to know what show you're trying to come to. We have tickets for the early show. We have tickets for the late show, but they're filling up now because we had a huge jump from the weekend and everything started rolling out with promotion and people really hit the ground running with this whole thing. So now where we thought it'd be low, we're probably going to have high numbers. So it would behoove you, if you're in the DC area, to get your 2, 3, 4 tickets to come to the show. Be confirmed, be on the list. So when you come, you just walk on in and we seat you. Now, I'm also going to tell people about this festival. When this festival comes, it is not the time to just hang out. We will be doing live taping, which means that the cameras will be on you. And we will be hoping that you're laughing, but the cameras will be on you, number one. Number two, so we're not going to be doing cell phones and selfies and stuff like that. Do that after the show. Okay? Feel free to do that all after the show. I have no problem with that. But this is something that we're trying to archive. In the video game, we call this trying to have a footprint. So we can have something and we can move forward. Shout out to ISNA, because the second stop of Preacher Moss's Muslim Comedy Festival will be at the ISNA convention. And ISNA, the 59th ISNA convention. And if you haven't known, ISNA has not been in live for 3 years. Yeah, almost 3 years. And they're coming back to Chicago, which is their big hub, where they always come and have a huge convention. We've been blessed that we will be running and producing the Friday night comedy show. Tickets will be going on sale for that extremely soon, probably end of this week. And we're going to tell people it's a limited amount of tickets. We might have 700-800 tickets, and that is it. We're not going to be dealing with the fire marshal, okay? So look, I'm going to take a quick break, come back, and we're going to wrap up. So I'll be right back. Hey, babies. Welcome to Radio WCUC, Convenient Urgent Care, home of the smart patient. This is DJ What It Do. You know what time it is. It's the top of the hour, and the request lines are open. You know what you want to hear. I know what you want to hear. Operators are waiting.
I just got to hear Don't Get the COVID.
Don't get the COVID. Put your mask back on. The Delta COVID, more contagious than before. Don't get the COVID. Go on and get the vaccine. You know that it can keep you safe, and your people living up in your space. Don't get the COVID. You need to wash your hands. The Delta COVID is more deadly than before. Don't get the COVID. Go on and get your vaccine. You know that it can keep you from dying. Don't leave your family all alone and crying. Don't get the COVID. we invite you to join our fight against COVID and against misinformation. It's time to listen to the doctors and trust the science. When I think of people dying that don't have to die, it makes me sad. Now's the time to be sober. Together we can make this thing over. Let's fight the COVID. Convenient urgent care, home of the smart patient.
All right, we're back. Shout out to Convenient Urgent Care with 3 centers in Parker Road in Houston, Cypress, and Pasadena. So if you're in those areas and you're not feeling well, you need COVID testing, please go check them out. They're very thorough, very professional. I've used their services before, and I have nothing but 5 stars for them in terms of their patient service, their patient care, and their customer service. So shout out to my Manny Chaz. So let's get back to this thing because I have a couple things I do want to say. The Muslim Comedy Festival, at this point, the tickets are free. I'm saying if you want to get your tickets, go to permissiblelaughter.com. Let me go back and put that up for everybody. You need to go to permissiblelaughter.com. And all right, now I got it all mixed up. Sorry about that, brothers and sisters. Now I can't find it. Satana! No, I'm just kidding. Oh, I got it. I'm messing up. I'm going to put that up. So we're releasing between 2 to 4 tickets as the week goes and we get closer to the show, which is on Thursday, August the 11th. I'm going to tell folks that we're not going to be listing them anymore. Okay? Here's information. Preacher Moss and Us Hub TV present Preacher Moss's Muslim Comedy Festival featuring Yasmin Ahadi, Moses the Comic, Azim Muhammad, Usman Habib, Athir Yaqub, and yours truly. We might have a special guest drop through there as well. If he comes through, it'll be alhamdulillah. If not, we'll have it on something else. But I just want to make sure everybody knows that this is the festival and you need to get your tickets now. Don't wait till Thursday morning thinking, oh, I can get some comp tickets. Chances are we're going to be out. Through the power of our sponsors, we've been able to make this a free event. So you can actually scratch out that ticket's $35. If you have purchased a ticket, let us know. And we can either give you an additional comp ticket or we can try and work out some kind of refund if we can do that. Okay? All right. Let me get that overlay. So I will close out on a very sober note. This sober note is that the situation that is aground in Albuquerque with this shooter, because this person is shooting people, that is about with this shooter is a very serious situation. And it should make all of us put our heads on a swivel. When I say all of us, I don't mean just Muslims. I'm talking about all of us, Muslims and non-Muslims, because clearly, and I've said this before, clearly we're in a time that people are very spiritually sick, which correlates to being mentally sick, which correlates to a lot of people working in the spirit reality that is not there. They are delusional. Like I said, these are not rational people, and you have to protect yourself against people who are not rational, who see themselves in a way whereby they have to lie about your existence. When I say lie about your existence, it means they can't see you as human because somehow that breaks the spectrum of how they live or how they survive, how they see themselves. This is the chunk that's thrown in against the mirror, and we have to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. And while I'm not a gun advocate, I've never been a gun advocate, I'm going to impress that those who carry, look out for those who don't carry. Let's be diligent in our security. Let's be diligent in checking in our community watch. When we see people, places, and things that don't make sense, investigate or call the police so the police can investigate. All right? So that's our show for today. gosh, we really appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Much love to my brothers and sisters in the Muslim community in Albuquerque and anyone else that's going through some problems, feeling oppressed, feeling traumatized, feeling anxiety. Hearts and souls go out to you. That's our show for today. Take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The ShOUT Show.